My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Hey everybody, it's Corey. This week we were joined by Tess and Brooke of the Psych Legal Pop podcast to recap the entirety of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu. This episode's going to be dropping in 2 parts, so be sure to stick around for part 2 to hear our thoughts on all the drama, and check out the show notes for details on where you can go to follow Tess and Brooke. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carly, and today we are joined here with Brooke and Tess of the Psych Legal Pop podcast.
Hello. So happy to be here.
Yes.
I know. We're very, very excited to be talking about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the entire Season 1, episodes 1 through 8.
Oof.
Yes, so first of all, we have to apologize for for the bait and switch, the roping in, getting you involved in this mess right out the gate, because we were under the impression this was going to be a very different series than what we had signed on for here.
Yeah. No, I thought it was going to be very different too, but it was like originally we're talking about Plathville. So it's one episode of Plathville or this. So
yes, 8 hours of
of
crash
contradictions.
Course. Yeah, crash course in TikTok influencers.
Yes. But it was, I felt like the whole thing was a bait and switch. I'm sorry. I really felt like the whole thing was going to be a traditional documentary of what we see. And it's Real Housewives of, this TikTok, MomTok, essentially. It's all just about their lives.
For younger people.
Yes.
That's what was really strange about it. I think we were all interested in understanding more about the swinger scandal, which was the biggest disappointment of the whole thing. Like you said, it started and then there was just like this 2-minute, here's a really quick summary of what happened in case you missed it on TikTok. And then here we are. We're Real Housewives of Provo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. These people, they confounded me. They confused me. I don't know how anybody makes any money. I was like looking up home prices in Provo last night. I want to know, how do you afford this home? Like, how do you get to go? How can you just go to Hawaii for 2 months? You can just leave jobs, leave everything and just go to Hawaii for 2 months. I mean, I gotta get some influencing or something. I made bad choices in my life because
she had to get away.
Yes.
She needed to relax.
Taking the breaks.
So this was also like a lot of cast members. 8 people. Mm-hmm. We struggled at the very, first 2, maybe 3 episodes trying to wrap our heads around everyone and spell everyone's name correctly in our notes. It's Always a challenge with these Utah names.
Well, usually I have like a cheat sheet. So it'll be, a photo and then their name. So then that way I could just kind of know who I'm referencing back to, or, kind of plant those memories along the way while we're watching things. But didn't really help with this one too, because there was such a big gap. The first 2 episodes were the hardest to get through because it felt like episode 1 and then episode 1 again, but at a different time. So it felt like we were watching 2 different shows too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody looked different. They changed their hair, they changed this, that, and because there was like a year in between the first couple episodes and the rest of it. And then Taylor gets pregnant. She looks totally different. I'm like, what? Yeah. Hard to keep up.
Very confusing. And they're all getting their Botox done at the same place. So they are starting to look a little similar in some instances.
Yeah, you get the Silva sister kind of mesh that happens there. But
and they're all ages like 24 to 30, basically, or 29.
Well, some of them are 22.
Okay, so 22. So essentially, but some of them look 16, 22, and some look 55. Some look older than I am.
Yeah.
And so, all of it. Can we just go back to the names for a second? Because now it explains Christine Brown's spelling to me. Because it can't just be Macy, Maci. That's how I spelt it. And then I looked up, I spelled it. And then I looked up, like, let's just insert a Y in there. So you would know to go May-C.
You should have assumed their love of the letter Y.
They always find a spot for it. Yeah, pretty much.
But Michaela is M-I-K, not a Y. It's just like, what is happening? It's like with Peyton. I assumed Peyton would have a Y, no Y. Nope. So anyway, yes, it was a lot. And I also was a little disappointed that we didn't get any kind of real dirt about this cheating scandal. And I was listening to 2 of the women, Demi and Jen Affleck, on Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald. And they were like, well, we don't want to spoil it. Because she asks a direct question about, like, what's the cheating scandal? Like, well, only, this show's coming out this weekend, so we don't want to spoil it. And I'm like, you didn't. You never revealed anything. So we have no idea what even happened, or if any of these other people were involved.
No, they explained that.
They did. So none of those other people were involved.
No. Well, according to them, they all denied it. They all denied that it had anything to do with it. It was just Taylor.
Yep. That was the background that we were able to find. So Taylor was involved with, obviously, the creation of MomTok, which she wants us to be very clear about in the first episode, that's all her. There were 2 other TikTokers involved. One was named Miranda and the other one was named Camille. And they were Miranda at least was part of the swinging situation. So what happened was Taylor was swinging with Miranda and her husband. And I guess they had rules in place of what they were allowed and weren't allowed to do. And Taylor crossed a line with Miranda's husband and they slept together. And that was like the catalyst for Taylor's divorce. So she went on TikTok and announced that she was getting divorced, and people were kind of like shocked. But then there were rumors that started about it had to be related to them soft swinging because she had made references to it in other TikToks. And so that's kind of like what started then her posting a whole thing explaining the background of what happened. So she outed basically everyone who was involved in the soft swinging thing. And then people started assuming that other Mormon TikTokers on MomTok must have also been involved in this. So people started distancing themselves from her. So like that's my understanding of it. And then Miranda and Camille did not want to be involved in this show. The only one who was involved in like the actual TikTok swinger situation was Taylor. So that's why they must have skipped over it so quickly and then just moved on, because no one else on the show had anything to do with it, or at least will admit that they had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. That helps tremendously.
There's some disconnect here that we have to understand.
I wish they would have included it in the show, so then that way we could have explained it. So it was probably Miranda and Camille just had absolutely zero want and desire to be involved in this in any way, shape, or form. we thought it was interesting too, because other things that we kind of figured out along the way was Demi actually auditioned for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which this kind of feels like. It feels like it could very much be that sort of vibe too. And then I think the other connection to it's a small town in Salt Lake City, obviously, because I think Demi is married to Angie H's ex-husband. So Demi's husband, Brett, is Angie's ex-husband from Salt Lake City.
She's like a friend of on Salt Lake City.
Okay.
She was involved with her current husband was involved in like a scandal where he made a Finsta, and there was stuff going on with the cast, and she almost was, I think she was almost going to be a full-time cast member, but then they passed her up for Angie K. So there's, everybody here is trying to get on a show like this, and I think this was their opportunity. And then Layla is friends with Monica Garcia, who was on Salt Lake City last season.
Who was spilling all the tea and part of the, the social media mess over there too.
She's also friends with Demi, because when I was trolling their TikToks, they have videos from a long time ago, going way back.
Monica?
No, Layla and Demi. Because I was wondering where she came from, where Layla came from, because she was not, part of that MomTok, really. Yeah. And it's like, well, whose friend is she? Where'd she come from? But it looks like she's been friends with Demi for a while.
And that might have been, another connection if Demi had tried out for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City too.
Right.
Friend of Monica's too. It might be running in that kind of Real Housewives circles.
My assumption is the producers thought they would probably bring drama, and that's how they ended up on this cast.
Well, this is what I wonder. I wonder if the original idea was, let's do a documentary about MomTok. It'll be about Taylor. They interview Taylor for this first episode, and then they're like, oh shit, she just got arrested. God damn it. And a little bit of like, oh no, and these other women won't participate. Well, what do we do? Well, oh no, now she's pregnant. Oh God. Okay. So, and then it's almost like they decided to, okay, let's make this more of a housewife show, right? Like they had to pivot almost because of what was going on with Taylor. I don't know, but that makes so much more sense, because the whole time I was so confused watching this, just hearing about how all these women are the breadwinners and all of this. I'm like, okay, so like, right. None of these men seem to work or do anything. And I'm like, I always thought this was just happening in real time. I knew the scandal had happened the year before, but I thought that these women, that this was like a part-time thing they did. We dance on TikTok. I didn't know that they were the breadwinners of their family. Like, they didn't explain any of the structure to us of like, this is who I was before I joined the show.
I still don't know what it is. Like, I mean, like, not even.
What is MomTok? What is that?
It's an abstract thing, but then they're all claiming like credit of, I created this thing. Well, anybody can put hashtag and make up, put two words together and put talk at the end. And it's just, there you go. So like, I invented this and made this. But also, anybody has access to that. It's not a restrictive thing.
A closed community.
Yeah, it's an open thing on the social media platform. You don't have the copyright to a hashtag.
Yeah. The whole thing is so bizarre. So MomTok itself is all of these moms, and they get together and they make their own videos, but they all do their own things and have their own audiences. And I would assume they all talk about different things.
Yeah, well, they make the MomTok videos together, but they also make tons of videos by themselves and with their husbands and their kids, and they're selling that lifestyle. Yeah. Like, everything is all this product placement. That's where they make the money. These companies say, make a video and, put our product in your video. And they have hundreds and hundreds of videos with all these products. And then some of the videos are them just straight up talking about a product, like they unbox something, like the vibrator that Whitney had. It's like you unbox this vibrator and you talk about it, and they pay you $20,000 apparently.
Yeah.
So it's really quite genius if you can do that.
You just have to fake your entire life.
Exactly. You have to film your entire life. Yeah.
My assumption then, the dancing videos are the things that just really don't make a whole lot of sense to me. But they must be getting together and doing those because it's a way to then get their audiences to like overlap, and maybe you'll go and follow someone else. And that's what they're getting out of the dancing videos, because that's probably why I've never discovered MomTok. Because that gives me your algorithm.
Yeah, among other reasons why. But yeah, I think probably that's at the top of the list.
Very cringy.
Yeah, because like I was telling Tess yesterday, you know, the type of dances that they do that in those videos, that's the kind of stuff my daughter did in junior high. You know, like it's very juvenile. It's like these women are business owners, they're mothers, they're wives. It's like they have like, and they're doing junior high dances.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
Because it's almost like you just take 10 years off everybody's life. Jen Affleck is like a 14-year-old, you know, Layla is like a 12-year-old. Like this one is like a 19-year-old. Like mentally where they are, it's bizarre. But at the same time, like by the time I was 27, 28, I was far more mature, but these women have had one marriage and then a second marriage and then a bunch of kids. And it's just this weirdest thing where you get these people who are so immature and don't have, you know, kind of live in this junior high school mentality in life, but they've been doing big adult things that affect other people.
And that's something that we've talked about before too, about like the infantilization of women, especially within like fundamentalism. And it just, I think you see that coming out here where, you know, like you said, the dancing is very immature. The way that they interact with each other is very immature. Some of it, I'm sure, for the show is a little done up because they want there to be drama between each other because they want a season 2.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're stretching that far outside of their normal personalities.
Well, and in the first episode, I don't know who made this claim, maybe Whitney, that they're making these TikTok dances is their way of fighting the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Like this MomTok
it's going to do it.
Is going to fight the patriarchy and change this dynamic, and especially in the Mormon culture, the Mormon religion. I would love for someone to explain to me how that works. Please tell me how, like, you know, like tap, tap, tap. I don't even know what these stupid dances are, but like, you know, each person dancing in front of a camera, that's going to stop the patriarchy. This is going to help people see Mormons and women in this culture differently.
Well, let's take the other side of that. They are the breadwinners in their family.
Yes, but they're treated like shit.
Yeah, well, the men still want the some of them. Some of the men seem perfectly fine, like the older ones, I think, you know, the older husbands. But, you know, like the younger ones, like that guy Connor, he's the epitome of
we got to talk about Connor.
Jen Affleck's. And you notice that every time they put their name up on it, everyone is just, you know, Macy or Jesse, but it was always Jen Affleck. Like she always had the full
my favorite
name.
part of the whole show. I don't know if they were trolling her or if they had requested that, because even when her husband came up, it said Jen Affleck and Zach Affleck.
Oh, yeah.
So it was always first and last name for them. And then I think we had found out, or somebody, because she'd made mention that her husband is a distant cousin or relative of Ben Affleck.
The father is a second. I think their grandfathers were brothers.
Something like that.
So I think Zach's grandfather was brothers with Ben Affleck's.
But also they've never met.
Something. No.
So it's like, then stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Calm down.
This is too much. But I think it goes to the MomTok thing too. It's this abstract thing that everybody keeps talking about, like it's an organized, structured, nonprofit organization that has these rules and stipulations and regulations. And if you're, we wear pink on Wednesday, and you know, it's just like, okay, I get it. There's rules, and you have these things, but it means something totally different to every single individual in this group. So I don't know how we have a common goal and what the focus is there.
Well, I don't want to insult anyone in the Mormon religion, but isn't a lot of Mormonism that too? Isn't it a lot of like, hey, this is what we're doing, so let's all get on board? and call it something, right?
Well, I was gonna ascribe that to religion in general. Is just kind of, the personal savior relationship of like my version of Jesus and God is this, and he happens to validate every single opinion that I have. So there's those types of things where it's like, well, maybe we could look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going to validate every opinion I have, and when it doesn't validate an opinion or a feeling of what I do, right? Like either I'm rebelling against it, or this is me taking on the patriarchy, or I'm going to shame myself. It just, all of it seemed like such a hard way to live. It just seemed like really exhausting to me to constantly be feeling as if I'm never doing enough. I'm not being good enough. I'm not this enough. And just versus just living my life and being a good person. I mean, that's a lot easier than what these people are trying to do. It seems exhausting to me. Exhausting. Yeah,
that poor Jen Affleck. Gosh, she's twisting herself in knots to please this guy who is just Zach. Maybe someday might support her if he doesn't gamble away all of their money.
This is my other... Yes, sorry.
He has a gambling problem. Well, they said this in one of the last episodes, that his parents, who are like the traditional Mormon family, they're very, very Mormon, and they gave them a bunch of money to help them get their start and go to medical school. He gambled it all away.
Yeah,
he has a gambling problem. They go to Las Vegas, and he's like in the casino till 2 a.m. and in between texting her, humiliating her. I mean, that's painful. That was really painful to watch.
It was awful. It's like he's texting her like, you're such a shameful person. Stick. And you're a bitch. God, how can you be such a sinner? Hold. I'm all in. Okay, let me go over here. I mean, who are you? And also, did you catch that he just graduated from BYU? He's now going to medical school. He's 27. What happened? I mean, it took him. He's Van Wilder over here. 9 years. Like, he is going to be 50 by the time he gets to be a surgeon, and he's just going to be too tired. I mean, it's like, how it took you that long. If you're going to be a surgeon, you got to get on that sucker. You got to be moving. And he seems to be lackadaisically 27. No one's going to point that out. Like,
he's practicing those late nights in the casino, overnight shifts.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he was for a couple of years.
I mean, even if he went on that 2-year mission, you've still got, another 7 years. So I'm just like perplexed by that. That him and that family, they just scared the crap out of me. Mm-hmm. And I really think that's the first divorce that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. That's my prediction.
I feel like a lot of the conversations, though, because there were some that were coming from a good place where there was a point of concern specifically around Jen Affleck and her relationship and the dynamic with Zach. But a lot of it felt like going into the relationship advice subreddit, where basically every single top comment is just, this is horrible, you should get divorced. Mm-hmm. And I'm not defending Zach in any way, shape, or form, because I think he's a pretty terrible husband in a lot of aspects as well, of just respecting his wife and her autonomy as a human being. But I would say that with the caveat of that, there is a lot of different things where that can be the go-to advice for a lot of different reasons, for things of just, it's not going to work out, I think you should get divorced. It's an easy piece of advice to give.
They should probably get divorced, though.
But I do agree. They should probably get divorced.
Having said that.
Well, right. It's the delivery of everything. I mean, that's the thing, right? Which is everything everyone's saying is correct. But if you if you say it to someone in their face like this over and over again, they're not going to listen to you. She's just going to double down, which is exactly what that's a term Zach knows. She's just going to keep sticking with it, right? Like, she's not going to let it go. So none of them are being very effective. But again, I don't think they think about other people. I really don't. I think, and I think that's a big part of this, is this whole thing. All of this is supposed to be about being a good person and being a respectful person. But it's like every single scene is them getting together and being like, that Whitney's such a bitch. I can't say, hi, Whit. Hi. Oh my God, you're back from Hawaii. I mean, so two-faced to everybody. Everybody. No secrets are ever kept. Nothing ever, right? Like,
The September stock-up sale is on now at Whole Foods Market. With kids back to school and busy workdays, you can save big on all you need to streamline your home and routine. Get huge deals on supplements and packaged coffee to energize and power through pickups and drop-offs. Next, save on organic chicken breast and Honeycrisp apples to master your meal plan. Then scoop up ready-to-heat and eat meals for when you just can't. So stock up and save at your local Whole Foods Market through September 17th.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
they're not
That's why
good
they're on
friends.
TV.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they're a hot mess, and that's why we were watching this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we want to get into the episodes?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
Maybe
do a
we'll shout
rundown.
out what episode we're on as we go through, just for anybody who's listening. I know we have a lot of people who are already watching this on our Patreon, and they're going as quickly as they can through the episodes.
There are brave souls who watched probably the entire 8 episodes in one night, the night that it came out. And God bless you, but I don't think I have the strength to do that.
That's what I did yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't stop. I was going to stop at like 6. And I'm like, oh, I'll just keep going to 7. And I'm like, well, now I have to keep going. I got to see what happens at the end of this one.
Well, I think after the first 2, we watched the first 2, and I was like, I don't know how we're going to get through all 8. I felt like my brain was melting after the first 2, but we'll just do a high level, quick run through of episode 1. It was a lot of that. The immaturity levels are very apparent. Taylor was introduced to us when she was 28, but she seemed a lot younger just from her behaviors, the decisions that were being made, and everything that was going along with that too. So they breezed through the sex scandal, which I wish they would have gone a little bit more into detail on. Obviously, that would have helped with this. But I think the other weird part too was meeting Whitney, kind of Whitney, version 1 of Whitney, because I didn't recognize her when she showed up again in episode 2. Her hair was like all red and completely different.
She's a chameleon. She's one of those people when you
She just
change their
shift.
hair, they look completely different.
Yes, like she could have been on the run for a crime, and I wouldn't have been able to pick her out of a lineup type of a situation. Like she was fully blended in, I think.
You know who also likes to change their hairstyle a lot? Colin.
Oh.
The husband. Have you noticed him too? Because he had bleach blonde.
Oh. What is his name?
Isn't his name Colin? Isn't
Which
Whitney's
one?
husband
Connor?
Connor. Sorry.
Connor.
Connor.
There's very similar enough.
It's-
There's
yeah.
with these names.
Close
So
enough.
Connor had bleach blonde hair when they first got back to Utah, and then it got shaved off, and then he had this. And can we talk about? Well, we can wait till we get there.
Hawaii surfer look, maybe?
Yeah,
was that
kind
'cause
of.
they were, it was a couple months in
But he's
Hawaii.
not cool. He's not
No.
cool enough to be a Hawaii surfer.
No,
He's
I don't
really.
think so.
I thought he was gay.
Yes.
I thought that whole scandal where he was on Tinder, and I'm like, well, who is he looking for? He just.
I felt like maybe that was being subtly implied, but nobody wanted to directly address it.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
Yes. Well, my theory is that he joined Tinder and Grindr at the same time. And Tinder was the, I'm going to let everyone focus on that because I'm doing this other thing over here.
Hopefully you find this one first.
Whoever
Yeah.
responds first, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that I guess apparently this was this rumor that came out about the two of them. And then, when the MomTok scandal, happened, Whitney fled to Hawaii and came back. And her big reveal is that she has to tell everyone that this is true, that these rumors about Connor being on Tinder are true. And then we hear a bit more. Like, apparently he's been on this since the beginning of their marriage. And she just kind of, well, he had a little bit of a porn addiction, and then he's been on it this whole marriage. Well, yeah, he would just talk to people. They never met in person, but they'd exchange pictures. They'd talk to each other. I'm like, this is a lot. This isn't just someone on Tinder kind of like casually browsing. Thank you. Because that's how you kind of made it seem like. It's like, no, this was an addiction this guy had.
And I think to your point earlier, like about how the women are treated, they are held to a much higher standard than the men seem to be on this show, where it's just fine that Zach has a gambling addiction. Let's just not talk about that on camera. And then Connor, he had a porn addiction. That was the reason why. So we're just working through that now. But God forbid the women do something wrong and they get jumped on for it.
Or seen as wrong. Yeah, perceived as wrong.
Like, going to Chippendales, like...
Stepping foot in the building.
Stepping foot in the building is enough to get you in trouble.
But yeah, it's I love how it was the dynamic between Whitney kind of sharing all of these intimate details about what's been going on in her marriage, and then we have Taylor to one up that in episode 1 because she is right in there to steal Whitney's thunder by announcing her pregnancy and suspected miscarriage at that time too. So it was a lot of information very quickly up front. We thought for sure after episode 1 that Taylor was going to be the villain of the show, but then that kind of all shifted around here too. But obviously by the end of episode 1, when you think, well, that was pretty crazy, how else is this going to get ratcheted up? Well, Taylor got wasted when she was going out with friends and came home and was involved in a domestic violence circumstance with her boyfriend, Dakota. And so she gets arrested. And now that's like, okay, well, I think we know who the villain is in this situation. We thought we had our roles pretty clearly defined after the first episode that Whitney was going to be trying to take over. We don't like Taylor. She's going to be the villain. And then we'll kind of see where everybody else fills out because they were obviously the two front runners at the beginning of the show. But how different did this actually pan out?
Yes. Can we talk about Dakota?
Oh, yeah. Yes, let's do that.
So, Dakota also is a social media person influencer.
Yeah.
Oh, he is?
Mm-hmm. I heard that on that Juicy Scoop interview.
Fame seeking is kind of the summary, I think, that the assessment that has been placed.
Yes, yes. Well, and he slid into her DMs and she was like, oh, he's cute. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how I like this. But the thing that really, so Dakota maybe is an addict, but is he sober? That's a little bit of, again, another instance of, if this was a female, if this was one of the wives, she would be chastised. She would be in a program right now. People would be all over her. No one quite knows if Dakota is sober or not. It's a little bit back and forth. And then when they're at dinner together, he says to her, hey, are you in this with me? I can't party. I can't do this. And this shows you how young Taylor is in many ways. Her response is, I don't know about these guys that can't go out and hang or party, or I don't like this. It's like, no, he can't. He's an addict. It's not like he's saying, no, I don't want to do these things. He's saying, no, I can't, or I will die. And just this is a woman with children. This is your response?
She's actually sober now. She talks about it on her social media.
Oh, she does? Okay.
Yeah, because, I also read this, that the reason why I was kind of perplexed about how quickly they arrested her and all of that. Well, apparently this was bad. She threw a metal chair at Dakota and one of her kids was next to him and she hit the kid with the chair.
Oh.
And the kid had like a big goosebump on their forehead or something. So it was like, it was like aggravated battery with her and being drunk in front of a child. It was a bunch of charges. So it was pretty serious. So now she's, update now.
I feel like
sober.
As bad as it was, I feel like that was the best thing to happen to her, for her to get arrested at the end of episode 1 and in that circumstance, because it seems like for everything else that progresses, that has had an impact on her to get her out of some of those destructive cycles. The one that she's still working on is with Dakota, because at first he's introduced as kind of this sympathetic, do you kind of feel bad for him because he's trying his best to make this relationship work with Taylor? And is she going to give him the time of day sort of thing? But very quickly it turns into kind of, there's that toxic dynamic that comes up repeatedly for them. And not to, associate or judge from the standpoint of Dakota being an ex-addict, but what I was seeing was it almost looked like he's now addicted to Taylor. That's where his addiction is, because he has this emotional regulation need from her that he always has to get that fix, so to speak, from how they're interacting in their dynamic.
Yeah, they blame each other a lot for how they feel. You're making me feel this way. It's like, no, you two need to be responsible for your own feelings. They may be, but neither one of them, all of their fights, it's always about what the other person is doing wrong, how the other person needs to change. And I'm like, I've worked with enough couples to know, like, this is John Gottman's Four Horsemen. Like, this is a big problem. Like, if you can't stop and take any ownership of your part of any of this, then you're in trouble. And that's why I felt for Taylor towards the end there, because it was like she was just getting more and more pregnant, and they keep these women on quite a schedule. Coffee, lunch, dinner. Now we're going here. Every day there was something. Every day there was 7 meals.
She was still participating in things towards the end.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, she went on that Vegas trip like 2 weeks before she was due.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, but I don't think these people like living their lives away from the camera anyway. So I think she would, listen, I'm sorry, the birth, that was the most graphic thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I didn't even film the birth of my son. You know why? Because I didn't want anyone to ever see this like this. That was super. Am I the only one that was like, whoa, we're getting a lot here.
I've watched a lot of Teen Mom and Unexpected, so I've seen many a baby born on TV.
Okay, so like the norm for these things, because I was just shocked by like, whoa, we're really not blacking out a lot. Whoa, that's her leg. Okay, we're doing it.
So it was tame. It was tame compared to some.
Yeah. From some of the others that we've seen.
I am surprised though that they filmed it, just because it didn't seem like their relationship was in the best spot going into that. So. But it was fine during the birth. It seemed like that went well, but otherwise it was not good leading up to things.
Yeah, it was the best thing that happened to their relationship. This is what they'd been working towards.
We'll
and
see.
They were, this is wobbly, getting there too.
For that moment.
Yeah, for that bit. That's what they were really excited about.
So episode 2 picks up, and it's 11 months later. I think that's very clear that, like you had said earlier, either the first episode was intended to be a different series than it ended up being, or that it was a pilot and that this finally got picked up months later. But we find out that Taylor ended up getting 3 years probation after that DV arrest, and that she is now pregnant again.
Dun, dun, dun. This is where we are. I really took a lot of notes. I'm like, I really wrote everything down. I got to find episode 2 now. Oh, here I am. Okay.
Well, I think, so this was, she was inviting a bunch of the MomTok gals to her baby shower, even though she's kind of been MIA because she was on probation more strictly. She was dealing with the fallout from her arrest, essentially.
I think none of them really wanted to be associated with her after that, too, so she kind of was laying low. But what happens here is Whitney starts to emerge in this episode as maybe being the new queen bee, because she's starting to accuse Taylor of destroying the reputation of MomTok, which is, I don't know why I can't say that right now.
We keep saying MomTok.
I know, I want MomTok.
Like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yeah.
It's hard to say. MomTok.
And that's obviously a big concern for these women because they're making the money to support their families on TikTok. So if she's around here destroying the reputation of their hashtag or what they're associated with, what they're starting to see
their
is
organization,
their personal hashtag. Yes.
Their brand deals are drying up, and that's really the biggest concern here.
But Whitney's brand deals aren't drying up.
Oh, no. But I also want to say, who here thought Whitney was debating this? I'm like, oh no, Whitney's already said yes to this.
She needs the money.
1,000%. She heard $20,000 and she signed right there.
Oh no, Colin saw it, and Colin's like, and did you hear that sex toys saved their marriage? I'm like, oh, I'm sure it did.
Yeah. It was required.
I think that's what needs to happen.
I have never heard someone say that before. Sex
to their mother.
To
their mother. Brooke and I, we're open with our parents. Our parents are not any of that. We don't talk about this stuff with our parents. Like our parents wouldn't talk. Like there's a certain level of just, you know what I mean? Privacy. I'm not going to ask my mom about her vibrators. It's like, no, I don't want to know about this. But she's just walking into this house, you know, saying, what do you think I should do? I'm like, oh, BS. You signed the deal already.
I also have a feeling that Whitney doesn't have any other friends to talk to these things about. So she had to talk to her family to have someone to film with, because I think the pool of friends is very dry aside from the few from MomTok who we're seeing here.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. I wonder if, because we do see a lot of scenes with Whitney on her own, and I wonder if that's because the producers are like, we can't bring anybody else in, or if it's really that when she is not with these other women, she has no other female friends, like not a one.
Yeah, it feels like when you get into this group, it becomes insulated, where then there is kind of all these interdependent relationships, but then that's shuffling around, cycling around, depending on the circumstances, because then we start seeing like Macy. I have to keep saying Macy.
It's the Y.
It's the Y. Yeah, I have to remember. But so she's the first one to kind of open back up to Taylor rejoining the group. And then it's, how is everybody going to react to this? So we've had mixed reviews on Macy too, because we saw a lot of people online were really liking her, but I feel like she's one of those people who's constantly on everybody's side, but then also kind of pitting everyone against each other too, just from the stuff that we saw from season 1.
Yeah. She, in the end of the season, she's really doing a number on Taylor. It's like, I realize you need content and whatever, but that's really, she's trying to break up a relationship with these people who just had a baby. Like, couldn't you just leave that stupid thing alone? That text or whatever she got. Yeah. I just thought that was really cruel and crossed a line even for these kind of shows.
Yeah, I don't know. I had mixed feelings about Macy. I think sometimes I liked her. Sometimes I was like, sometimes I was back and forth. She seemed to be her and Demi, to me, felt like the most grounded, like the two that I would actually want to talk to outside of all this, maybe Layla. But, you know, yeah, she is a hard one, because she definitely has a lot of comments about a lot of stuff, but she doesn't really reveal that much to us. We know nothing about her husband at all. And maybe it's because he's just boring and there's nothing to say, but you know, we just don't know anything about your dynamics. It's like, oh, you have kids. Like we don't learn a lot about her at all.
I didn't even think about that until now. Really, all we learn about her is all of the stuff she knows about other people.
Yes.
And then that she has a vitamin brand.
Well, it's a supplement. I don't know if we can legally call it a vitamin. Something, natal something.
Well, and it kind of starts at Taylor's baby shower, because she's here to support Taylor, but then the whole time she's talking shit about Dakota to the whole table of women. So she's making it clear to everyone that she doesn't like him, which I think she has some reasons to, based on how she's seen him treating her. But those two things don't really align in what she's saying and then what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean, and I think she's in a really tough spot And obviously most of these things happen when you don't have cameras on you. But all the women said, oh, I would want to know this rumor about my partner. And it's a little bit like, well, again, Taylor knows this guy's got issues. Taylor's well aware of this. Taylor's the one telling you all of this stuff. Again, I don't think showing someone that, your partner may or may not be cheating on you is really it's going to convince anyone.
It's not your business too. I don't know. I'm the kind of
convince them.
Yeah. They always say the same thing. Well, if it were me, I would want to know. And it's like, well, okay, that's you. And I just, it's really, if I found out something, unless it was something that was going to cause like something dangerous because first of all, Macy has no way to know 100% if this is even true. The girl could be lying. These people lie and do this stuff just to get attention, get on TV, whatever. Unless it's going to be something really harmful, like, just mind your own business. You don't need to get involved. You don't need to tell her. It'll come out if it's true. It'll eventually come out,
Yeah. I just looking at one of my notes, and then I wrote MomTok, embracing our sexuality. This is another one of the pillars of MomTok, taking down the patriarchy and embracing your sexuality.
Maybe we need a list of the pillars. We need to ask them all.
A lot of words.
That's two. I'll let you know the rest of them.
A wobbly structure here.
Yes, it is a very, very wobbly structure. But did you think it was odd that Dakota was at the baby shower? Do you know what I mean? That's a little like there's something about him that does not sit well with me. And I think it is just very controlling or very like, why are you here? Co-ed baby shower I would get, like, because all the men would be there, but you're the one male at a baby shower.
Well, he confuses me too. He has very like 7-year-old boy or like 14-year-old boy energy about him, where like his hat's always on backwards and sometimes it looks like he has like a toupee on underneath that, like where it's just sticking out, or like his hair got darker in some episodes where I'm like, is he dyeing his hair? Is he drawing his beard on every morning? I don't know. Like, it's just, there's certain things about him. The way he ran up the stairs at the rental house in Vegas, I was like, this is a man child.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Well, yeah, he's got a free day in Vegas. Like, where are you? I'm at the go-karts.
By myself at the go-karts.
At the go-karts. It's like, yeah, okay. Dakota, I mean, he's a lot. He is just a lot. But it is a bit of, this is when it became very housewifey. Was like, Whitney's not coming, and then she doesn't tell her and doesn't let her know. And so everyone has to gossip and talk about it. And that's a very much a housewives thing of like, you came to my party, you didn't come to my party, not the right place, this isn't the right place for this, my party, all of that kind of stuff that happens.
And Taylor's mom just like called her up.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird.
That was ballsy. Taylor's mom she's no joke. I mean, she's so mean to Taylor. She's like, talk about being unsupportive and shaming. I mean, she basically, every time we see her, she's telling Taylor like what a mess she is and how, she's made a mess of her life and she needs to get it together. And then she gets the father involved, and then they're shaming both of these, Dakota and Taylor, who they don't need that right now. They need a lot of support.
Yes. Well, yeah, the dad, Jeremy, shows up, and basically they just tell him right then and there, oh yeah, Dakota's moving in, and Dakota's got a box in his hand.
Today, right now.
Right, so he just said Dakota's shit on the side of all the boxes.
It was like Christine packed that up. 14-year-old boy
Yeah.
energy too. Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, and he had 5 boxes in the truck. There was not a lot that he was moving in. Something tells me he doesn't have a lot of material possessions.
No, oh God, no. Where was he? I mean, he was living with his parents before this. Like, he rolled right out of bed at his mom's house. His mom probably packed all that stuff up. And she's probably thrilled. She's like, goodbye. Oh, thank God. Go, 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 go. And now he's there.
I was thinking couch surfing too, because that was kind of like, that's usually the quantity of stuff of moving in when it's like, you've had these in storage and you've just kind of kept a backpack and moved between friends' houses.
So you think Dakota is laying on someone's couch in, a basement somewhere of some friend, and he goes on Instagram and he's like, who can I live with? Who can I live with? Who can I live with? Oh, MomTok. I've heard of this. They're here. Okay. Oh, she's just divorced. Right? It truly feels like he saw her out and wanted to make this happen.
It reminded me of Matt Bear from Teen Mom, who had dated Amber back in the day. That's what he did. He went and he sent messages to multiple girls on Teen Mom, waiting to see who would engage in a conversation with him, and then eventually ended up in a relationship with Amber. But he was, seeing who would bite. I feel like that's Dakota energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
All right. Well, episode 3.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We got to keep it moving.
Episode 3. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I think this one was kind of an interlude sort of bridging episode where they kind of built out the divide, because there was there's the holy group who is like the typical Mormon wives, the perfect wives, and then there's the sinner group. So it's the saints and sinners. It's 4 and 4 split of what's going on there, and that's kind of the basis of this whole episode, and that's to just kind of pave the way into the rest of the drama for the rest of the season here.
Yeah. This is so I'm sorry. Can we just talk about this graduation party, which I wrote down as the lamest graduation party I've ever seen? These people seem to have money. You can't cook. You can't do anything. Their big thing is they have a soda bar. So let's talk about soda.
They like soda. We need to talk about soda. And also someone needs to tell them that there's caffeine in Coke and Diet Coke. Because they keep talking about how we don't drink alcohol, we don't drink coffee, no caffeine. We just love soda. Well, a lot of that soda has caffeine in it.
But it's a little bit of this back to the same idea of, I'm assuming that no alcohol, no caffeine is about not ever putting any stimulus or anything stimulating or whatever into your body. And they talk about this a lot, like, your body's this temple, and it's like, so okay, you say no coffee, no this. So what are the loopholes for us getting high? I mean, it's just loopholes. It's all just
Botox with laughing gas.
Botox, laughing
Have
gas.
you ever heard of
soft
such
swinging?
a thing?
Ever?
Oh, well, no, but I think I'm going to Utah to get Botox,
right?
Because I really want to get it done, but I just don't want needles in my face.
It's a feature. Well, and that's the other thing too, is it's like, well, obviously they didn't have Botox injections in the 1800s and when they were, coming up with the Book of Mormon and things like that at the time of writing. And I think that was kind of these things of like, your body's a temple, don't put toxins in your body. That's what Botox is. You're injecting poison into your face. So to say that, oh, it's alcohol. Alcohol's the bad thing. Okay, well, if Botox was around, I'm pretty sure Joseph Smith, Joey Smitty would have thrown that one in there. Look, poison in the face, let's not do that.
Soda too, probably.
Soda too, because that's, high fructose corn syrup.
I really didn't realize how, because I've never been to Utah. It looks beautiful. But I didn't realize that they don't have Starbucks, so they don't have coffee shops. They have these soda shops. And it was just so odd. I'm like, oh, so this is what you do. And then they were telling us their soda drinks. I'm like, ugh.
It sounds disgusting.
Sugar-free hazelnut, sugar-free this, sugar-free, like 15 syrups.
And that's
44 ounces?
44 ounces. Yeah.
Too much. That's too much.
That's like it is. It's the supersized Slurpee at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that's
big, huge cups.
That is too much.
Yeah. And how is that any different than a giant coffee? Like, I don't. And everyone's talking about like, oh, we can't have coffee. So everyone's at the place at 8:00 in the morning with their big cups. I'm like, yeah, they need caffeine to function. You have an addiction.
And there's sugar or whatever.
Yeah. So, but but it just seemed the whole party was like, so you have pizzas and sodas? Do you know what I mean? It's a college graduation party and you're celebrating it like he just graduated from the 8th grade. Do you know what I mean?
And they were drinking straight mixer, but then Jesse brought out some of the good stuff because some of them do drink. And then that's where the divide comes in, where it's like, hey, some folks in the group, in MomTok specifically, there's the saints and there's the sinners. But I thought it was funny when we start getting into the baby blessing storyline too, where then I think that was Jen Affleck who was inviting people initially, and then she was trying to say that she forgot to invite people, but I didn't like that because she uninvited people, and I think it was from the drinking incident in the hot tub that then led to, hey, these people aren't fit to be around this child for this baby blessing,
which is ironic now, knowing that her husband has an issue with gambling. That we're going to draw the line at somebody took a flask of vodka out in the hot tub and then put it away after they heard that was not cool on the rules here.
Instead of drinking just, 3 cans of Mountain Dew straight up, they splash some vodka in the mix, and that's too much, too far.
Here, I've got a crazy idea. You're Jen Affleck or you're Zach Affleck, right? Hey, you know what? This graduation party, this is my parents' house. Can you put that away? My parents aren't going to be cool with it. Okay, great. Thank you. Problem solved. Yeah. But no, in this culture, what happens is it's like, they're drinking. I'm going to give them the stink eye, and then I'm going to uninvite them, and then I'm going to blame my husband and throw him under the bus, and then he's going to
punishment. They're really into punishing people.
Punishing. They just love punishing someone. Yes. Perfect way of saying it.
So now we end up like split. We have Taylor, Jesse, Layla, and Demi, who are the sinners, and they're the ones who have been uninvited. And they're starting to suspect that maybe that's what's going on. So they call up Jen Affleck, and they find out that that's true. But like you said, she tries to throw many people under the bus. You know who she doesn't? Whitney, who was the original one who suggested that she should not invite them, because Whitney has decided that she is high and mighty over this group, and she's going to decide who's the most devout and who are the ones who maybe should be on the outskirts of MomTok.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because when I was doing a little bit of research, like reading about this stuff, I saw, because they linked their social media to all these People magazine articles, and apparently Whitney just posted, "Oh, so glad to be back in the church. I haven't been there in 3 years." I'm like, excuse me? So what does being a good, right? Like this definition of being a good Mormon, this is what if you're truly a good Mormon, it just means you just don't get caught. You just don't, this is the part that just perplexes me.
I'm surprised at that, because I really would have thought that she was there consistently based on the way she presented herself in all of these episodes. It was very trad wife. Even her haircut, like everything. She was really trying to present a certain image of herself.
The flip, the curl.
Is she the one who was making homemade animal crackers?
Yeah. Or attempting to, yeah.
Yes.
Later, she was kind of building a stool at the kitchen table.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, the painting was happening and nailing things, tapping it gently with a hammer. I don't know.
I think she's trying to get an offshoot, her own show.
Yeah.
Like the woman, there's another woman who's that ballerina farm.
Ballerina Farms. I have that in my notes here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's trying to be like that, because they're getting a homestead. So, it's going to be like Whitney Farms or, Whitney Ranch.
MomTok Farms.
She's visiting her
And then there'll be a lawsuit over who owns that.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag MomTok.
I think we should put MomTok, hashtag MomTok on this episode. We just let's adopt it.
We're taking it over.
Let's take it over. And we're going to make it whatever we want to make it. But I just have to point this out. In the first episode where we see Whitney and Connor coming back and they're in their car, it's piled high with stuff. And then all of a sudden she turns around and is like, hey, honey, how you doing? I'm like, you have a kid back there? They have two kids.
In between all these boxes, it's like if you come to an abrupt stop and one of those boxes shifts, your child's dead.
Yes. I just love this. Is great parenting. The kid is wedged in a child seat.
Not the first time I've seen it on reality TV. It's very Leah Messer of them.
Piled high. Right
oh my God.
Well, it's just funny. These are all the different scenes where it's for her to go high and mighty in this group and say, I'm going to be the one who determines who is worthy enough to be here and a part of this. Mm-hmm. And then in the next scene, we have her describing what was the story that she was telling us, recounting of Demi.
The Fruity Pebbles. Did you look at Fruity Pebbles differently?
Man.
We got to talk about what that was.
I still don't understand what
I think I have an indication. I can try.
I don't really want to know.
Was it was...
There was a sex act that took place.
But were the Fruity Pebbles involved or was it just used as an analogy?
It was an analogy as to perhaps how something tasted.
Or, okay.
Oh, okay. I thought it was...
See, I thought there was some food
literally involved.
I thought there were Fruity Pebbles. I thought it was he was giving, I'm just going to say it. He's giving her oral sex and that there were Fruity Pebbles.
Some food play.
And then I started thinking about this, so how did she get the Fruity Pebbles up there? And how did they stay?
We all tried to make it more salacious.
Was that
than
the
it was.
only cereal you have?
Well, then just tell us.
I'm so confused.
It's so much worse. Whatever I'm thinking of whatever scenario I'm trying to make sense of, you skirting around and dancing around and not fully explaining, just tell me what actually happened, because it's way worse up here.
Gosh, yeah.
This was told to her in privacy, and she decides this is going to be great fodder for TV. So I'm going to fill up a box with Fruity Pebbles. Well, some type of off-brand Fruity Pebbles that we can't show them on TV.
Yeah, you have to say fruity cereal.
Rainbow Rocks.
And I'm going to bring it to Demi's, I want to say Demi so bad, to Demi's Valentine's Day party and gift it to her as a gift to our hostess.
It's like Salvador Dali. It's Demi. That's how I have to remember it.
Yeah, but the story itself isn't, the thing is, apparently they were all at an event together, and this doesn't make Demi look very good, because basically she's revealing this to everyone and then getting her husband to corroborate it and telling him, I'm going to put you on, putting him on speaker, but not telling anybody, telling him you were on speaker. So that's what made this even worse. It's now, Whitney, she's going to have to, that was sort of this group thing that all of you together kind of were going to say, okay, we are going to hold this. Now you're breaking that completely. So no wonder Demi was pissed off at her the rest of the time.
Yeah,
I think that's what started her on her hatred of Whitney, but that pissed her off because now she has to deal with it.
Yeah, it was wrong.
Yeah. But God, don't tell any of these people secrets. The secrets, because they do not keep secrets.
No. And especially if it's something that they're going to be able to use against someone, that's the ideal type of secret.
Well, and that's why I get suspicious about Macy, because she just kind of collects all these different things and then she sees when it's functional for her, where she can kind of divulge these different tidbits of information for everybody. And she just so happens to be having a birthday trip planned. It's her girls' trip that's coming up, and that becomes the drama for the next episode.
Yeah, that really gave me a headache, that episode. All the yelling, and it was just whoa. I had to take a break right around then, watching, because it was just if the rest of the show is going to be like this, I can't take it. But luckily it wasn't. But
the truth box started it off, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that the real quick, that baby blessing, again, so a baby blessing is you get together in your living room and all of the men hug each other. And that's it. That's a baby blessing. Okay.
They bless the baby because they're the priests, you know,
of
the priests of their homes, of their families. And the women just sit in the back. The woman who had the baby, she just sits in a chair in a corner.
This is why it wasn't #MomTok worthy content, because this was definitely patriarchy.
This was not a good look.
Also, it was boring.
And it was boring.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. That's the sin.
I was just like, this looks like the lamest thing I've ever been to. And like those women that were bowling, they're grateful. Be grateful you weren't there. Yeah.
Hi, this is Paige from Giggly Squad, and I want to talk to you about Splash Refresher and my water intake. Okay, so you guys obviously know that I'm a hydrated girly, but sometimes when you drink that much water, it starts to just taste bland, and you're just like, I need something to spice it up. That's why I love Splash Refresher. It has 0 sugar, 0 calories, and it's a splash of sweetness. And they come in 5 different flavors. They're so good. Wild berry, acai grape, pineapple mango, lemon, and mandarin orange. My favorite is the wild berry because I just love a berry. So if you're like me and you're drinking water all day, then try Splash Refresher. It's going to absolutely change your water game, and it's good for you.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Discover Hydro, the best kept secret in fitness. Hydro is the state-of-the-art at-home rower that engages 86% of your muscles, delivering the ultimate full-body workout in just 20 minutes. From advanced to beginner, Hydro has over 500 classes shot worldwide and taught by Olympians and world-class athletes. For a 30-day risk-free trial, go to Hydro.com and use code ROW450 to save $450 on a Hydro Pro rower. That's HYDROW.com, code ROW450.